Everyone's What If, created by Inferno YT here on YouTube. Go check it out. First episode out now. Today we're just going to predict what will happen in episode 2, even though it's a bunch of what if scenarios suggested by the comments. So this is going to be all scrambled and most likely 100% wrong. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hype the video, and go check out the original episode 1 by Inferno YT. Let's get into it. Episode 2 will focus on Thad after his Shinling meeting up with his absolute Solver pet, I guess. Yeah, he has that. He then runs into disassembly drone Uzi with her glowing yellow Solver symbol, I guess, which tries to assimilate him because she's in murder mode, I guess. Which leads Thad to pull out a gun and shoot her. Also, then Lizzie shows up and just starts filming the whole thing. So that's, I guess, the first scenario. Uzi collapses and Lizzie stops recording and posts it to TikTok or Facebook or whatever drones have in the modern year. And Thad lives happily ever after to hold another Shinling the next night. That's scenario 1. Just for this, I'm predicting there's going to be at least 5 scenarios. So that's what we're going to predict. 5 whole scenarios. Scenario 2 focuses on Brayden and Yaxter. Yaxter and Brayden's body. Yaxter still repairing Brayden's body, of course, trying to bring him back to life. Which leads Yaxter to meet up with Uzi, which has the Solver, obviously, who apparently just left Thad's house a couple hours later after regaining consciousness and rebooting, I guess. Uzi tries to kill Yaxter, but Yaxter befriends her with whatever. And that is scenario 2, I guess. I'll give a little more detail before we move on to 3. So, Uzi then snaps out of it and manages to come to her old worker drone code, I guess. And she agrees to help Yaxter on one condition. He buys her a new railgun, which she can add to her own, since she's now a disassembly drone infected with the absolute Solver somehow. That canonically makes no sense. But this series is wacky. It's not supposed to make sense. So now with Uzi and Yaxter agreeing and having a deal, I guess, they now work on fixing Brayden's body. And that's scenario 2. Scenario 3, Lizzie goes to a bar. So Lizzie goes to a bar and she just grabs drinks like the Dizzy Lizzie and the Thadasaurus Rex cocktail, I guess. She drinks quite a bit, and she continues to post about ex-husbands on Facebook and getting millions of likes from drones across the universe. That's kind of it for scenario 3. It's just Lizzie goes to a bar and gets drunk and makes a bunch of random Facebook posts. It's a good scenario, okay? Just for that, I'll give you 6 scenarios. Scenario 3, continuation of Doll and Tessa's interaction. So, Doll and Tessa continue to discuss about Tessa's dry cleaning, I guess, that Doll completely messed up. And Tessa reveals herself to be the Solver, which completely terrifies Doll. Doll manages to fight back and manages to escape the Solver into the rest of the mine shaft. The Solver constantly chases her and looks through every corner with her eldritch tentacle arm things. Appendages stretch from her back. And Doll is getting hacked by the absolute Solver and losing her mind. Which, I guess, Doll escapes back to the surface, meaning Doll survived the Solver interaction, I guess. But the Solver crawls out of the pit too and destroys the cabin fever labs. Nani? Which is then when in goes Super Saiyan and knocks Sin unconscious, saving Doll. Doll just escapes without thanking him since he's a disassembly drone. And that is scenario 3. Scenario 4 is a scenario I actually suggested. So, the Solver regains consciousness and finds the disassembly drone Uzi infected with the Absolute Solver somehow. And then the two just have a scrap fight. Solver, disassembly drone Uzi. I need to think of a name. I'm just gonna call her Uzi. But remember, she's a disassembly drone infected with the Absolute Solver. So Uzi and Sin put up a great scrap fight, as In and V probably show up to give her some assistance, and in goes Super Saiyan again, managing to land a fatal blow on Sin. Uzi gets quite injured, and Lizzie appears filming the entire thing again, like always, to post it on Facebook. Uzi has to eat Sin's core, which, in this universe, turns her into Sin. Da-na-na. Which leads Uzi to get fully corrupted after she regains consciousness and reboots. Completely engulfed by the Solver AI, Uzi is still herself, kinda. She's in an episode 4 kinda state, with all of the Solver's cool abilities. She has to fight for control over her own body. V immediately tries to kill her, but In holds her back, leading the two to go down a hole, I guess. And then Sanusi? Yeah, Sanusi. Sanusi just goes off and does whatever, and Lizzie posts the video to Facebook. Scenario 5. Lizzie and Thad just go on a date, I guess. I'm gonna give no further context. And I can't honestly think of a scenario 6, so you only get 5 viewers. Sorry for the clickbait. Now, see you in the next one. And hey, it's just a theory. A drone theory.